biggest fears is the condition of some of our properties in this community, of a child dying, a fire breaking out, or something happening that doesn't need to happen at the end of the day. And so, you know, we're a community, and I'm throwing that out for the residents in this elected body. As part of us moving through some of this chaos that we're dealing with, we gotta make sure that we stay focused on the ball at the same time. And I'm bringing to your attention, we do have some serious issues with properties in this community. So that's another thing that the board and I, we've been talking about a strategic plan, and this is definitely one of the things we need to move up there, so that we don't have that bad event, that we live with that stigmatism for the next 25 years trying to live that down. And that concludes my report. With that, Patricia Wagner, the town accountant, will go over our monthly financials.
In your book that you have there, you will have 2 months again. You're gonna see September government and September proprietary. And for sake of time, we're just going to move to the October one and go over the October financial statements. So probably cut your book in half, and that'll be the right page. There is a title page that says Town of Rising Sun Governmental Funds for 4 months. You do?
What page number, Ms. Geiser?
It doesn't have a page number. It's a title page.
Oh,
What's the page before it
Right.
say?
I think I found it. Page before it says,
No, I meant Mayor Fisher. That's-
Financial statements for 3 months, ending
No,
September the 30th.
that's September, we want October. Probably you need to go forward now. That's probably October for the proprietary.
4 months, ending
Yes.
October.
Yeah, but that's the proprietary. There's your first page. No, that's a different title page.
Okay, that's fine.
Right there. For October governmental fund, that one right there. Okay, the next page is the accountant's compilation report, which is the same, every single month. Page 3 is the balance sheet. Cash and cash equivalents is $332,131.48. The MLGIP is $28,521.49. We have investments of $89,954. We have tax and service charges of $2,928.90. Due from the state of government, the majority of that is the real estate taxes.
from the state of Maryland, is that
From the,
correct?
no, not sorry, taxes from the state of Maryland, yes.
Thank you.
$378,759.86. Then due from the water fund is $75,733.19. The next month, we received some reimbursements in November, so as of today, the due to, due froms are 0. There will be a little bit happen when we create the payroll tomorrow. And if I get time, I will, and we have the money, we'll move it from the water and sewer to the government fund. The accounts payable is $11,824.20, and due to the proprietary is $183.03. We have unrestricted fund balances of $907,656.69. If you go to page 4, you will see that we have a positive change in fund balance. And this will go down because all our real estate taxes is billed out in July, and we do the accrual for it. And then we slowly spend down that money. And that is That's the reason why the cash is so high in our bank accounts right now, is that we've gotten the majority of that money. So our positive change in fund balance is $637,209.89. If we go to budget to actual, which you go down a couple pages, till you get to the last page before you hit a yellow sheet of paper. And we have we are down by budget to actual, but that's because we will receive some more tax money and various different money between now and the end of the year by $111,114.82. We basically collected $1,042,131.87 so far. We have spent of that $404,921.98. We were expecting by this time to spend $701,000. So our expenditures are down actual to budget by $296,807.18. The majority, yes, the majority of that is in capital outlays and general expenditures. I also want to point out the fact that in the budget to actual, we have positive to salaries of $28,351.81 for the first 4 months.
What was that number again?
$28,351.81. Now, there is an accrual missing that we won't do till the end of the year of about $8,000 in the government fund. So basically, we have an excess of $20,000 in the government fund for salaries. That leaves us positive to the budget by $85,692.36 for the first 4 months in the government fund. Any questions about the government fund? Okay, we will pass the yellow page where we will have the title page for the proprietary fund. Then you will have the report. In the combination of water and sewer in the cash accounts, we have $589,425.37. The MLGIP, which is basically our savings, is $971,494.06. There's a due to and due from between the water and sewer. It crosses each other out. One's as an asset, one's a liability, for $99,599.29. We have water and sewer receivables of $124,138.70. You will notice that before we had restricted cash of about $12 million. Due to the fact that we have paid out a couple of payments to the contractor, it's now down to $10,770,100.35. At the same time, you will notice that capital assets are increasing because, of course, as we give the money to the contractor, we then capitalize the sewer project. And that is now $9,993,482.15. The accumulated depreciation is $2,531,621.41. And basically, just so you know, we are not depreciating the sewer project yet. According to GASB, we have to wait until it is complete to start depreciating that asset. We have accounts payable of $12,072.01, and there's your contra account of $99,599.29 of the two due to froms. You will see the due to government fund, which was the same on the government book, for $75,733.19, and then we have the money that we collect for bay restoration of $13,721.68. The liability there, basically of the $14,374,916.96, $13 million of that is the loan for the sewer project. And then we basically have net assets of, and basically net assets are your assets minus your liabilities of $5,440,575.38. Any questions? Okay. If you go to page 4, you will see for the first 4 months, we've collected in water and sewer charges and the rent on the tower, $325,667.19. And then you will go through and see that we have spent of that $311,177.74. So operating income, we are basically in the positive by $14,489.45. And then we have interest income, which is on the, well, now it's $10 million, of $8,579.71. So we are positive by $23,069.16 of revenue to expenditures. If we go to page 6, and you will see the water budget versus the water actual, you will see that we have collected $5,921.81 above what we projected that we were gonna collect in revenue. And we have spent $6,659.67 more. Most of that you will see is in contracted services and engineering. And so we go down to, we have a net change of $577.92 that we've actually are in the positive, according to the budget. And then you will see we have sewer here. Now sewer is probably one place where we have a few issues with budget to actual. And that's the reason why I'm breaking down these two, because it's going to get worse next month. The actual revenue was $3,033.58 higher than budget. However, if you go down to legal fees went $12,220.52 actual over budget, and basically that's due to Frapple.
Yeah, Patricia, I'd like to emphasize, this is what we talk about when we say the Frapple lawsuit is not covered by any insurance. This is legal fees covered. There's no insurance carrier covering this. This is legal fees covered right out of our pockets.
Mm-hmm. So we basically spent $14,302.15 more than we were planning on, and of course, $12,220.52 of that is legal. So we are negative to the budget by $10,294.32. If you go to the total of water and sewer to total actual to budget, you will see we collected $8,959.39 more than we were budgeting. However, we have expenditures of over budget by $20,961.82. If you look at that, the total legal that we're over is $19,540.60. So the major part, and this is something that is going to keep growing, it is worse in November, is the legal fees are going to put as negative to the budget. Any questions? Sure.
May I ask a question, please?
Sure.
And perhaps I misunderstood you. I thought I heard you say that you had $10 million invested and your rate of return was generated approximately $8,000 for the month.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a?
Not for the month, for the first 4 months.
For the first 4 months, $8,000 on a $10 million investment?
It is very low interest.
What, do you have certain stipulations that make it mandatory that you invest in low returning assets?
The reason is, it's part of the sewer project. We were told where we had to put that money. It has to be in PNC.
That was my question.
Part of the loan agreement.
Well, PNC can do better for you. You can go to BlackRock or somebody like that, having been a former PNC
No, it's
employee.
just sitting, it has to sit in, let me explain, that's not an investment. That is a restricted checking account that the money is set aside that we have to jump through all of these hoops to get the money out, to get to the contractor. And it's not fun. Any other questions? Okay. Oh, and behind that, you will find your September, October, and November check. I know that you've received the September before and probably the October, but we just thought since we were presenting these statements, we would give all the checks to you. Again, with up to what we have, invoice up to now. Okay?
All right, next report.
I wanted to give a small report on streets and sidewalks. We have been looking into repairs on the corner of Mount Pearl and Haynes where it makes the yield towards the high school. We're getting prices from contractors on replacing that sidewalk, which is in, basically not there anymore. So hopefully we'll get a new sidewalk before
Wait a
cold weather.
minute, we're ahead of ourselves. We need to do old business.
I'm giving a report. Oh, okay. Sorry. I'll cease and desist.
Okay, historical preservation, anybody here from Historical Society Commission? Okay, old business, it says mediation, but I never talked about mediation, we talked about conflict resolution, which is a different thing than mediation. So who's the speaker on this topic?
Well, I think we could all speak on this topic, Mr. Mayor, because the letter that I received from MML talked about a mediation process. It did not, in order to come to conflict resolution.
MML or from Upper Shore?
It was basically through MML, and the organization sent a letter asking the commissioners to go to mediation with you, the mayor.
Not mediation, conflict resolution.
No, mediation.
It's conflict resolution mediation.
Oh,
That's what it is.
okay, we got 3 words there. So, we wanted to address that particular letter, and, we believe that the passage of legislation is not grounds for conflict resolution mediation. Therefore, we, the board, I make a motion, that we, the board, forego any conflict resolution mediation.
I second that motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any comments? Okay.
I'll follow up on what Ms. Osborne said, actually, and thank you for approaching the subject. I appreciate that. I also received the letter from, what was it, Upper Shore Mediation?
Upper Shore, conflict resolution.
Thank you. I called and spoke to them, and it became clear to me in that conversation that the purpose of the requested conflict resolution, mediation, was to mediate a decision, a vote this board took. That was very clear from my conversation with them. And to follow on what Ms. Osborne said, and also, frankly, to follow on my act of censure, to tie it all together, essentially, I will say that if there is a communication problem, you can mediate that. If there is a vote this board has taken, you don't mediate that. The board, again, acts by majority. The majority passed an ordinance. You didn't like it. You requested mediation. I declined.
Any other comments?
Jay, you want to go ahead? I think you have something that might bring a little balance to this.
Well,
I just have the file on this, and, you know, I'm not gonna go into too detail, but the initial letter from August 24th from the mayor's personal attorney, that follows the appearance of your personal attorney at a town meeting 2 weeks prior, and at the end of it, it basically says, "It is our request that you convey to the commissioners Mayor Fisher's desire to participate in mediation as soon as possible so that the issues between the parties can be aired and hopefully resolved." So if that clarifies any facts of what we're talking about. That's what the letter you all received said.
And the attorney was here, and he addressed us 2 weeks before that letter regarding an ordinance we had passed.
Correct.
So again, that goes to my point. Thank you.
I would just like to add that I agree with Stephen. I think that when it comes down to it, you can't mediate legislation that we have passed as a majority of the board, and we need to move forward. So I decline mediation.
Well, there's just confusion in terms, because the Upper Shore is a conflict resolution organization, not a mediation, and there is a difference. I was just trying to find out why nobody would give any reasons why they suddenly were making all these changes in the ordinances. You know, you blamed all these things on me, and it's the same government you've always had for years. I haven't changed anything, really. So you folks that are blaming me for everything, I inherited all that. I didn't create any of it. So, you know, we need to get our facts straight. And
Jay, what does the facts say regarding the letter?
And I believe that we need to sit down and talk and have an honest discussion of what the problems are. If you don't know what the problems are, it's very hard to solve them. So, you know, that's simply all my aim was, to find out.
Actually, the aim of the mediation, the conflict resolution, or your attempts to sit us down to do that, was because you didn't like a decision this board took. Move on. I call the question.
And if, just the point of order to answer Commissioner Marion's question, that the organization that was contacted was Community Mediation Upper Shore, Inc. Okay? So this idea of conflict resolution, you can call it whatever it was, but all of it talked about mediation. Mediation is conflict resolution, if you want to use a synonym, but that's what the letters talked about, just so we're all factual.
Thanks, Jay.
I call for a vote on the motion.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So, passes 3-1. Okay.
It passes what? 3-1?
3-0. Okay. Now, Mr. Osborne, you can continue.
Do you ask for new business?
Hmm?
Do you ask for new business?
No, I didn't. New business. Any new business? No. Okay, now.
Where was I? Oh, yes. The sidewalk on Mount Pearl and Haynes. We're trying to get some concrete contractors to give us prices so we can get that done before it actually turns too cold to do anything with it. Mr. Bonenberger referred to the line painting, and I'm hoping that in this effort to be able to tell us where we're supposed to drive on these roads, that on places like Mount Street and, not Mount Street, Walnut Street and Cooper Avenue, is that Cooper? No, that's,
Work Heights Garage.
yes, that's, not Cooper
Buckley. Is
then.
that Buckley?
That's Buckley, you're right. On Cooper and Buckley, I'm hoping that we can get the line painter to agree to not put the lines in the middle of the road, since we have parking on one side of those streets, and if you put the lines in the middle of the road, you're gonna run over the parked vehicles. So, you know, that's my major thing on the line painting, and I hope that we get it done before cold weather, because they are getting pretty faint and we are driving all over the road. And I think that's all that I have as a report from my department.
Okay.
That I can think of right now.
Commissioner Marion.
My report's gonna be kind of short tonight. I had a conference call with our town administrator to discuss where we were with parks. We're still in the permit process with DNR. It looks like that 30-day cycle's about to end this month, so hopefully we will get our permits from DNR to move forward with Triangle Park. We did receive our county permits. I have called a landscape architect to set up a meeting to finalize design plans for Community Park. And I also just wanted to remind everybody that our Christmas Carol Sing is next Tuesday at 7 p.m. And that's it. Thank you.
Commissioner Naughton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a brief report also. Primarily, I just wanted to say that following up on some of the things we've talked about tonight, I encourage residents to speak up. I encourage residents to participate, recognizing that we are officers of the town, and I think the commissioners certainly all strive to serve your interests, and if there is a concern about anything we've addressed tonight, I hope you'll address that for us. The other thing I want to say is not really town business per se, but I just would like to acknowledge the good people in the community fire service here in Rising Sun. Leaving my in-laws' house on Thanksgiving night, my wife's aunt was in quite a bad car accident at Horseshoe Road and Route 1, which is a bad spot. She's elderly, and they had to cut her out of the car. The door was, such that they couldn't get her out. And the care they showed her and the efforts they made to get her out safely are very much appreciated. So thank you very much to those folks. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Citizen input. Okay, Lynn, do you still want to speak?
For those, name's Lynn Griffin,
You want?
Rising Sun resident, again. Can everybody hear me? Okay. Everybody that was here for
It would be
the,
better for you to turn around, we can hear you.
no, I'm addressing you guys.
Okay.
This is,
We can hear you.
We can hear you, and that's the proper format.
for all of you guys who were here for the Hurricane Sandy freak storm thing, and working with Facebook, that was a beautiful job done with Facebook. We were up to date. I know you were updating, stuff was getting updated through the chief, through Cecil Fire Blog, through the weather department. People were reporting their power outages when they could. Yeah. So thank you for using Facebook the way it should be used. Now, that being said, I want to go a little old school with technology, and I think we do need to archive. I don't know if we're doing it already with the videos. I know we're placing them on YouTube, but perhaps doing something like a DVD archive that we can have with Historical Commission, and having a copy of like the town meeting and stuff like that is one kind of presentation thing, so anybody could check it out that wanted to, that might not be able to make it to the meetings, that doesn't have internet access, would be something nice. So it's just a food for thought. And that's it, because I took up the good thing.
Thank you. Shelley Lucier.
Shelley Lucier, and I'm a resident of the town. And before I start, I just want to say that this is actually a coincidence. I had no idea that you guys were going to do what you did earlier. So with that, I'll start. I have read through the town meetings, the minutes, and that are archived on the website from 2005 until now. I've done that for the last several days because I wanted to be more informed, especially about what I'm getting ready to do. Because I was very morally conflicted over this, because I never want to cause harm to another person, but I feel like it needs to be done. In '05, there's nothing on the website below '05. That's when I first read about the water situation that we're having. Mayor Fisher, I was looking for resources for you being at the meetings and things like that, and the first resource that I have was on November 23rd, 2010, and you were in citizens input, because I was trying to figure out your role with the town and things like that. And basically in the citizen input, and by the way, on the timeline that I have here, I've made copies of all the minutes that I'm referring to, and I'm going to present them to you guys so you know it is not coming from me. Mr. Fisher, on November 23rd, 2010, you stated, your citizen's input was that you stated support for the mayor at the time, who I'm not familiar with, but I know her name is Mayor Deidre, and you provided an overview of town operation during the time that you were involved from 1983 to 1985. These are the first mentions of you in the minutes. On December 14th, 2010, the minutes report that you asked several questions during the citizen input. By January 25th of 2011, Mr. Fisher, you stated that certain events had raised your interest in Rising Sun, and you stated that you were perfectly content living in Wilmington, Delaware. And when asked if Mr. Fisher lived in Rising Sun, he replied, "I own property here, and my son lives here, and my daughter owns rental properties." Mr. Fisher was asked what events took place that sparked his interest in Rising Sun, and he replied, "The way the town has treated the mayor." Mr. Fisher stated that he had spoken with USDA and the Deputy Director of MDE, that he held meetings with Cecil County Commissioners, and he stated that his alternative would be no cost to the town of Rising Sun. Sir, back in January 25 of 2011, you didn't even live here, and you were placing phone calls to the USDA and to the MDE, and you knew that we had a lawsuit pending, and that all the townspeople could possibly be affected by the outcome of that lawsuit financially.
I own property in town.
Yes, sir, I know you do. I know you do. But at this time, you stated that you lived in Delaware. So I'm just reading, it's not me writing it, it's just the minutes. And then you elaborated on your evaluation that you had prepared in response to the Davenport study. When asked to provide the documentation, you stated that you didn't have it present at this time. Now, I've been at meetings where we've all asked you for that documentation, and you've never ever provided that to us for your alternative sources. I just wanted to add that. You also had your attorney, Mr. Bruce Hemphill, present as well. That's stated in the minutes. And you informed, you said when asked who he referred to as we, Mr. Fisher, sorry, Ms. Osborne, stated that we are Joanne Osborne and I, that you were holding meetings to inform all residents on what is going on in relationship with the sewer system and the water system. Recorded in the minutes, you also did make a donation to the Historical Preservation Commission, which we do thank you for. But in the minutes, in these same minutes, they were very long. The discussion of the $90 million lawsuit took place. You were well aware of the ramifications of that lawsuit and the fines on the town should construction be delayed any further. In February 8th, 2011, you began to petition circulating to stop or halt the construction of it's in the minutes. Stop to or halt the construction. By February 22nd of 2011, you announced that you were moving back to Rising Sun. During that same minutes, you were also told that you were circulating misinformation to the public and making false statements that the county was going to put in sewer lines at no cost and that the county would hold their user rate until 2020. January 10th of 2012, you stated that you resided at 108 Wilson Avenue, and you stated that you were not satisfied with the audit process and that you felt that you should have further access to the information, at which time you were instructed to apply for a Freedom of Information Act. 4/10/12 was around the groundbreaking of the the water treatment. On 7/10/12, it was reported that the ordinance was passed. On 7/24/12, you reported that you wanted to have, your campaign as the newly elected mayor was based upon 3 main issues: transparency, cost effectiveness, and collaboration, which you said again this evening. You further stated your, about the ordinance. Mayor Fisher further expressed his support for the wastewater treatment plant project and his concerns with the Chester Water Agreement, stating that he would like to hire a geologist to evaluate the feasibility and cost of developing additional wells locally. At the point of 9/11/12, that was the last meeting that I read, and I'm trying to hurry up to get to the point of this. You were asked by a citizen what your plans were for the town. You replied, "You have no formal plans or goals." And the citizen commented that the town is dying. Mayor Fisher, the town minutes available on the website prove that you have known about the lawsuit against the town since 2010, at least. With total disregard for that lawsuit and its conditions, you have interfered with progress, you've circulated petition, you filed a lawsuit against our town, which I have a copy of. And you ran for mayor in 2012 on the premise of stopping the water treatment facility and to explore other options, of which you can never manage to provide supporting documentation. You continue to talk about your solutions and you continue to go to the facility even though you have been legally ordered not to. To this day, you continue to put the people of this town at risk. You did all of this with the knowledge of the conditions of the lawsuit, as well as the fact Rising Sun does not have insurance to cover $20 million. That being said, you have put every household in danger. Potentially, they will have to pay an estimated of, and I'm not really sure the amount, it's a rough estimate, $30,000 to $40,000 per household by way of a special tax should Frapple win the lawsuit. Also, in addition to that, you are very well aware that depending on this lawsuit, 2 more developers plan on suing us. I have a petition signed by 77 people, and on their behalf as well as mine, we ask that you step down from your role as mayor. I had people come to my house to sign this petition, sir, that voted for you, and that stated many of the things that you said to them in running. And I'm formally asking you, and representing the 77 people in the petition, to ask you to step down. As a side note, Mr. Mayor, I just want to state, I'm sure, and I've talked to you personally outside of here, you've shown up unannounced at our house and we've entertained, oh yes, you have, and we've entertained meetings on our front porch. And we've listened to everything you had to say, and my husband and I are more than willing to work with anybody, and we want to give back to the community that we love and we live in. But every conversation that you start ends with your solutions for the water treatment facility. Every one of them. And I'm not sure what it is, and I think that you have maybe the right intentions, but I'm not sure that you're understanding that the lives of every person in Rising Sun, people could lose their houses should this Frapple lawsuit go through. It could bankrupt the town. I mean, this is a very serious thing. So, that being said, I ask, sir, that you consider the 77 signatures that I have, and that you would just please step down as mayor.
Okay, Brian was here.
Mayor Fisher, Commissioners, thank you for your time. I'll try and keep this brief. That was my wife that just spoke. My name is Brian Bashir. I'm a resident of Rising Sun. As a citizen, I didn't choose to run for office. I didn't choose to do anything. I just want to live in Rising Sun. And most of us here, I mean, although the idea might be naive, we expect everybody sitting at the table to do the right thing. And do what's best for the town, and to do what's in the interest of us. The last thing many of us want to do is even have to come to the meetings and more or less babysit or watch or see what people are doing. But that's the position that we're forced to be in, whether we want to be in or not. And Mayor Fisher, you promised basically change as mayor. Every 2 weeks we sit up here and you basically complain that you can't get anything done. I mean, that's what your statements are, every 2 weeks like clockwork. When everybody elected you as mayor, you know, they elected you because they wanted to see change, and they had a certain expectation of a certain amount of leadership would be delivered. Now, if you look at Wikipedia, leadership's defined as a process of social influence in which one person can enlist the aid and support of others in the accomplishment of common tasks. Now, you know, in the face of the pending lawsuit, you've repeatedly been asked not to speak of alternative water plans by fellow town commissioners, town staff, and the town attorney. You continue to ignore these requests at every juncture, risking increased fees and taxes for all the citizens and business owners of Rising Sun. You've even came to my house to discuss town planning, which basically, as my wife pointed out, quickly turned into a conversation of the water issues in your alternative plans. I mean, it's, as Commissioner Naughton stated, I mean, there's definitely a pattern of behavior here that I'm not sure can be broken. That no matter what, it goes back to the water. The position of mayor and commissioners have a great deal of responsibility, not only that's associated with the title. You hold the financial well-being of not only the town in your hands, but also all the current and future residents and business owners. We are collectively affected by your actions. Mayor Fisher, I respectfully request that you step down from your position as mayor of Rising Sun effective immediately. Commissioners, if Mayor Fisher fails to do so or refuses to step down, you know, as a citizen, you know, we plead for you to either establish a recall vote, amend the charter, do whatever actions take needed. I mean, I really appreciate the censorship. It's from the perspective of, you know, the peanut gallery, it's a little too late. That should have came in place, I mean, hopefully months ago, but, you know, I mean, now's the time it came in place, but at the end of the day, you know, the leadership's been lacking, and the town is just not getting what it needs.
Well, the leadership is among the commissioners, not among me. I'm powerless.
Sir, you stated at the meeting previously in this room that you were the captain of the ship.
I'm supposed to be the captain.
You stated you are the captain of the ship. When you're, it's kind of like if you owned a business and you hired a manager to manage your department, and if that manager couldn't get the job done, you replace them. Now, maybe the employees are subordinate, maybe there's other issues, but you, as the manager or the captain, it's your job to figure out how to work with your team and to figure out how you can get everybody producing, and you fail to do so.
Thank you for your. Charlie Patrick in the audience?
I pass at this time.
Okay. Tom Mulaney. Thomas, are you here?
Thank you.
You pass. Vince Salmons.
Vince Salmons. I just want to say that
Resident or non-resident?
I'm a non-resident. I'd like to thank the initiative you've taken to read through all those minutes. That's painstaking. I've tried to do similar tasks, but it's a lot of reading for an individual. Thank you, Harold. But anyway, I just want to, you know, really appreciate that's a lot of work for a person that really cares about the town to do, and I appreciate it. And I appreciate the efforts that folks in just 3 days did just to get the signatures as well. I mean, that wasn't very much time to assemble that many signatures, and I'm sure we can produce more if necessary. I basically want to come up here and just address the banner program too for the chamber. We have some chamber members that's you know, put their monies forward and is expecting to have banners posted, and I was trying to inquire about when that would you know, happen. If there's anybody that can maybe give me an answer on that. I'm sure there's a lot of turmoil that limits your time in order to proceed with normal businesses in town here due to the fact of all the different interruptions that's going on. But you know, my chamber members are kind of curious on where that sits.
We have a form that we need to get in the hands of those individuals. So, and I think the terminology you might know is a vector.
Mhm.
Basically, they
Mhm.
need to develop a vector within dimensional guidelines.
Okay. Did they not fill out the form appropriately then? And
Excuse me?
did they not fill out the form appropriately?
They filled out the form,
But
but
didn't submit the
we need,
graphics?
we need the graphics.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's, and I believe that was articulated, that we need graphics.
Yeah, there might have been some misunderstanding on
Yeah.
that. I'll convey that and
Okay.
help them if necessary. But that's all I have to say. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you. Augie Pearson.
Good evening, Commissioners and Mayor. Augie Pearson, I am a town resident. First of all, I would like to thank you, the Mayor and Commissioners, for declining the FRAPL offer. That would have been an admission of our guilt. However, recently I attended an event in the county with many of the county and state police officers, and they wanted to know why Charlie Berkowitz wanted to fire Chip Peterson. Unfortunately, I remembered a conversation Commissioner Berkowitz, and I'm sorry he's not here, but this is a true thing, had with Sandy Deidre right in the hall out here on the swearing-in night, when she told him, and I quote, and so you understand this, I will testify to this in a court of law, and I will not perjure myself. You do what you're told. I got you elected. That's the end of the quote. Since, Mayor Fisher, you have already stated, and I'm sorry Sherry did not find this, but I know you stated it to us as when I was a commissioner, that you thought Sandy was railroaded. And that is why you came back to town. I am left wondering just how much influence Sandy has on you and Charlie. What I find even more ironic is that Charlie is the Public Safety Commission, and he's being told to do what to do by a convicted felon. And I'm sorry, Mr. Fisher, you may not like it, but I do not like people stealing from me. Don't mess with my wife, my kids, or my money. You apparently have no ethics when it comes to somebody stealing, because she did steal from you any way you roll the dice. The problem is, Chip Peterson and Calvin Bonenberger were the lead fact gatherers against Sandy. Now, isn't it very ironic? Since you've been mayor, the two people you're coming against are these two. The people who helped convict Sandy. You can look at it any way you want, Mr. Fisher. Doesn't look good. What I really would like you to do right now, sir, and I've done my homework on this, it's about $22,500 per taxpayer, not resident, taxpayer, if we lose the FRAPL suit. What are you going to tell your son-in-law and daughter about how they're going to have to pay that? Mr. Fisher? Ask you a question.
I didn't have anything to do with the FRAPL lawsuit.
Mr. Fisher, do you listen? The lawsuit states mayor and commissioners. The sign right there says, Robert A. Fisher, mayor.
But I wasn't the mayor.
Mr. Fisher, you are as responsible as I am. Mr. Gullo, when the suit was filed, how was it filed, sir?
It's filed against the mayor and commissioners of the town.
Ms. Osborne, are you a commissioner?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Naughton? Mr. Marion?
Yes.
Are you the mayor, Mr. Fisher?
Yes,
Now, this is twice tonight, Mr. Fisher, where you've denied anything, but when questioned, you are the mayor. So now answer my question. How are you going to tell your son-in-law and daughter that they're going to have to come up with that money if we lose? And remember, that doesn't count Stevens or J and D or D and J. So we have two more lawsuits to deal with there, because if we lose one, they're going to jump on the very same bandwagon, and we'll lose those two. So now, it is true, folks, we may be up around $60,000 in a potential lawsuit that we will pay. Mr. Fisher, the best thing that's happened to all of us was the videotaping. I didn't attend the last couple of meetings. I looked at it. There is one common denominator, Mr. Fisher, and I am right at you. None of this is your fault. You say that every time. The facts are wrong. It's not your fault. How in the world can everybody else's facts be wrong and yours be right? Everybody else's viewpoint is wrong and yours is right. But let me put it real clear to you. You lied tonight. You bold-faced lied to every one of us. That lawsuit was dismissed. That lawsuit was not withdrawn by you, Mr. Fisher.
It was a hearing, it wasn't the lawsuit. We never got to the lawsuit.
Then where did you spend $50,000 defending it?
Here, I'll give you one of this. It was dismissed. There's the judiciary case search.
Here you go, Mr. Fisher. Now, if you'd like to take it up with the Maryland Judiciary, I'm sure they would love to hear your reason why it wasn't dismissed. Our attorney said it was dismissed. I remember at a meeting we were told it was dismissed. And unfortunately, at a meeting, I lost my temper with one of my fellow commissioners. This all goes to one thing, Mr. Fisher. Something is seriously wrong.
Well, I agree with that.
But I think you go home and look in a mirror tonight, because you haven't been honest with us. Okay? You don't listen to what they tell you to do. And in any other job, if you weren't elected, where people told you not to do something and you did it, you'd be in the unemployment line. And Ms. Tome, I'm sorry, but that headline last week was irrepressible journalism. It was irresponsible to lay it out there about the fact that we have to wear, or our town attorney has to wear, our town administrator has to wear a bulletproof vest. That is just terrible. So, that's all I have to say, Mr. Fisher, but I want an answer from you on what you're going to tell your son-in-law and daughter. Will you please have that for my next meeting? Because what you tell them is what you're going to have to tell us. Okay? Fair enough? Yes or no?
I'll think about it.
No, Mr. Fisher, there's no thinking. You either tell me or you don't tell me.
I am not going to tell you until I think about it, because I've gotten in my trouble too much by speaking extemporaneously.
But I guarantee you next week you won't have an answer for me either, so thank you.
Okay. Tom, you said question mark, Mr. Miller.
Yeah, I have something to say. I'm Tom Mummy, and I'm a resident of Rising Sun and a former mayor. First off, I would like to thank the board very sincerely for having the courage to do what you did. I compliment you beyond any imagination of any glory that could be given. You did your job, and you did it well, under the circumstances. And I'd like to compliment you citizens for being here and for what you're saying. And I know it's heartfelt. Maybe we all should have spoke up before this, but we didn't, including myself. We all got complacent. We were happy with things the way they were. This is the price we pay. I know next election will not be decided by 2 votes, because I know the people of this town will show up. So I compliment you. And Mr. Mayor, that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Bill Smith.
Ford, Chip, Jake, how are you? My name's Bill Smith, I'm a town attorney. Not the town. Hey, I just want to see if you're paying attention there. I have some facts and everything that I want to read into. A lot of this was from the records, and thanks to Sharon taking the lead here.
Shelley.
My bad. Some of this stuff was taken right out of the minutes, but there's a thing in here that I think you all may need to be aware of. This is right out of the charter from the town, it's section C-13. This is the powers and duties of the mayor. In this section, it says the mayor, in virtue of his office, may call on any officer of the town entrusted with the receipt and expenditure of public money for a statement of his accounts as often as shall see proper. He shall see that the ordinances are faithfully executed and report to the Board of Commissioners at their stated meetings, the general state of the town, and any special meetings of the commissioners whenever he sees proper. The mayor may take part in any discussions, but he shall have no vote, except in the event to cast a tie vote or tiebreaker. The council shall appoint from its members a person to serve as acting mayor, who shall serve in the absence of the mayor. Mr. Fisher, you have stated that they've taken your powers away. The charter has not been changed. The charter is the same as it was prior to your election. So what powers have they taken away from you when the charter hasn't changed? Has the charter changed?
No.
No, it has not. So in fact, the statement that his powers have been taken away is 100% false, because the proof is in the town charter, which is public record. Secondly, we've overheard you say that you wanted to pay back Sandy because you thought she was railroaded, yet she was convicted in a court in this county by her peers. You interfere with the town doing its business. At the last meeting, as Commissioner Naughton detailed, to the SER plant, again, you went over there against protocol. By your own admission, you called USDA and said that you didn't need money for the SER plant. I'm sure they had the impression, sir, this is on the record. And I'm sure you gave an indication that you were effectively a member of a committee or something like that. When you don't see a project goes your way, you file a lawsuit. By the way, you have a copy of that in front of you, sir. And I may ask, that is admissible as evidence in a court of law, correct?
Yeah, that's the court
As
record.
well as videotapes, correct? Are videotapes admissible as evidence?
If you can get them authenticated, the person who took them and things like that.
So with an attorney and a police officer, that would be an authentication.
Depending on the case, usually.
Okay, very good.